Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome, and thank you very much. And to all on Sunday, like sometimes a public apology is appropriate because we bring with us, all the good, the bad, and the indifferent. That wonderful movie that we all watch, the good, the bad, and the ugly when we watch the Westerns. Well, if you look at the good and celebrate it, recognize that it can be better in the days that we're not. Well, if I may look around the table and see fantastic women who remind us that the cradle of life begins with them, and through them, the love and the nurture extends to us. And even in our worst days, we can be reminded of the grace. So, as part of the inaugural Cayman Islands Breastfeeding Conference, we want to invite you to be a part of our discussion. 1 o'clock, we got some else to share, and then 1:30 even more with our friends at HSA. So, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much. I think for all of us who recognize the importance of the love that we find from our mothers and grandmothers, from our sisters and even our daughters, and that love sometimes when, epitomized through their service. I would not say their sacrifice, but sometimes that's what it feels like. We're eternally grateful. And for those men who try, I say, to show a semblance of that motherly love, it's amazing. Miss Abigail Parchment, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I am wonderful. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having us here again.
It's an honor. I know when Miss Anna May reached out and others, and over the years, whether through DHSA and others, the notion that whether it's a promotion, rest is best, back to sleep. The things that throughout, the millennia, we understood the provision, that natural thing that brings not just economical benefits, it brings health, bonding, love, the ultimate sort of, take out food, and it's filled with everything. And yet, I tried in preparing for today's discussion, as we talk about breastfeeding, I tried to go back and read certain things, and I'll be guided by you so that I'll be corrected. But some of the stupidity that exists in this supposedly online thing, some of the editing that goes on, and taken away from the true nature of what is important, so that we seem to have gone through an era where we dispense with something that has been accepted, proven, and actually truly beneficial. Breastfeeding, the bonding of the mother and child, but also the health benefits to both mom and babe. And then we discarded it because, was it the money? Was it the marketing? Was it the notion that this thing now isn't just right publicly? Because how dare you do this thing, in a public place when I want to have my meal? How dare you do this thing at the workplace where I need an office because I need to make... And these are the things that thankfully we've come to some sense of saying, no, this isn't just tried and true. This is something that's actually absolutely essential. So through you and, Ms. Gomez and Ms. Brown, I want to welcome you to our discussion and help me to understand that sometimes the passion we have translates into frustration. That sense of excitement and that sense of, trepidation is all because we're, again, have a level of frustration. How can we be so foolish to ignore the obvious? As my friend says, you're oblivious to the obvious. So, may I ask you first, Ms. Abigail, for a brief intro, and then perhaps Ms. Gomez, and then Ms. Renee? Would that be fine? Welcome, Mom.
Thank you. I'm Abigail Parchman. I'm a lactation consultant, and I've been with the breastfeeding support group for, I don't know, maybe about 20 years now. And you talk about passion. I'm passionate about breastfeeding and encouraging and assisting anyone who wants to do it to be able to be successful at it. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. And, well, Ms. Gomez, perhaps if you wish, a brief intro. And there's something else I want to ask of you, but, I know Ms. Renee would jump in to answer as well.
So I'm Frances Gomez, and I've been with the Cayman Islands Breastfeeding Support Group for about 2 years now. And I am a mom who successfully breastfed her 2 daughters for about 2 years each. And I'm so happy that I can now help others that are in my that are now in the position that I was in to be successful in their breastfeeding journey, and to just be able to be there and say, I was there too, and this is okay, and we're here for you.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Renee.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I'm Renee Brown. I'm also a lactation consultant. I'm a NICU nurse in the neonatal unit at HSA. And so I sort of bring a little bit from in the field of being in the hospital and supporting women in the community as well.
And something that I did, because sometimes I think we know more than what we actually know when we start to realize if we're honest with ourselves, we know very little. Ms. Frances, if I may ask you, I remember our conversation the last time and the way you presented it. So I went back to some individuals who maybe, given this is the month we celebrate our elderly, come from an era where that's what they did because that's all they had access to, but also they understood that was the best thing to do, and it was not just acknowledged and accepted, it was promoted, and there was a heavy respect for that mom at that time, that young mom who could, if there was any issue. From what this grandmother was sharing with me, she said, you reached out to the very young ones and you helped them. And then she would describe in no uncertain terms exactly what they would do. Not unlike what I would imagine the lactation consultants today. But if you would allow me, and please ensure that I don't do this. You're a relative, as you said, a young mom, right? 2 young children. Was if I recall it correctly, when you were sharing the last time, today, it's 21st century and the approach to breastfeeding, was that something that you felt, how do I put it? Maybe those around you, your contemporaries, going, no, I don't want to do that because of the impact, the image, the way it was going to be perceived? Or was it embraced by those around you?
Well, I feel that everybody wanted to do it when we were, there was a big group of moms that we went to prenatal classes and things like this. And everybody wanted to do it, but out of the group of moms, we were 7 moms, and 2 of us actually breastfed past 30 days or 2 months, really. And even if the intent was there and the women knew that it was the best thing for the baby, at the time of birth or whenever the time came for it to happen, there wasn't enough maybe information, or they didn't really have anybody to turn to when they had questions, or maybe the pressure of my baby's losing weight, or so I think it's really, there are a lot of pressures and a lot of I think factors that contribute to it not happening. And then I actually think that the main factor is that there's a lot of, like you said, marketing. There's no one that benefits from you breastfeeding your baby, but you and your baby.
Yeah.
right? So when there's all these other things. I see it still on TV. You know, it's like it's okay to have alternative ways to feed your baby. Of course, I mean, modern medicine. I'm not a medical professional. But modern medicine, I mean, there's so many amazing things, and formula is an amazing thing, but it is not breast milk.
Yeah.
And I that's my personal opinion. I'm sure the ladies can go a bit.
I just want to jump in with a little of my passion about this here, if I may. I just want to dispute one little thing you said.
Of course.
Nobody else benefits except the mom and baby. Nobody else realizes they benefit,
Right.
but so many people benefit if children are breastfed, because you have a healthier child, which means that mom will be more available at work if she goes out to work. It means that our environment is a little better off because of it, because you don't have that waste that you would have if you're doing formula.
Right.
And, a healthy, happy baby is a benefit to all, really.
And maybe that's something we could look at. So whenever we come back from this break, let's chat about it. I want to talk about the breast. Make sure I get the breastfeeding support group. What you do, how you do it. I know there's a conference coming up, so we have conferences in financial services and environment and all sorts of things. But an inaugural breastfeeding conference, wow, that sounds something that we all should have had 1,000 years ago, probably. So can we talk about that? All right, stay tuned. Please join us right after the break. And thank you so much for your time to listen with us.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Prescription refills made easy at Savannah Pharmacy. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments October 16th to the 19th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Wayne Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman at gmail.com. That's drporterkman@gmail.com. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020. Reflections annual countdown to Christmas sale is on now. Ladies, save 50 to 75% off selected fashion clothing, selected Adidas, Puma, and Nike sneakers discounted from 25 to 50% off. Make your gift giving super easy this year by getting Reflections gift certificates for everyone on your list. Converse kicks starting at $25 and bargains galore throughout the store. Guys, cargo pants, big and tall, $5.50. Levi's and selected Docker pants, 25% off. Every purchase above $49 at Reflections gives you the opportunity to win 2 free tickets to any Cayman Airways destination of your choice. Open Monday to Thursday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. Shop Reflections on Shen Road beside the Mango Tree.
See yourself in Reflections.
Reflections, always driving down prices.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining me, and thanks, to the Cayman Breastfeeding Association? Support Group. Cayman Breastfeeding Foundation, is it? No, support.
That's
Cayman Breastfeeding. And the reason why I'm so glad that Ms. Abigail Parchment reminds, even though I know the need, you are more than all these things, but the fact that you have the support. And that's what we all probably want at the end of the day. Someone has your back. Yeah. And I say this hopefully that despite all the transpired prior, the love and the respect that I have for what you do and your willingness, both as 2 decades in or just 2 years in, that support that we offer. So then, to our listeners, we have both Ms. Abigail Parchment, Ms. Frances Gomez, and Ms. Renee Brown joining us. There's a conference coming up, all right? It's an inaugural breastfeeding conference. Can you tell us why that is? I mean, and I thought, wow, that's an amazing thing because, well, we got hospitality conferences and all sorts of other conferences. Ms. Abigail, maybe you want to direct and delegate and decide and dictate who discusses it?
I will definitely be delegating, but I can tell you a little bit of the background behind this. We're always interested in educating. So whether it be the healthcare professionals or the mothers themselves, there's always new things that we're learning. Not that breastfeeding has changed innately, but our knowledge of the process is evolving all the time and expanding. And so some years ago, the idea was formulated to bring down an expert in the field. And then something happened. It was the year 2020. I don't know if anybody remembers what happened.
That was so long
year.
ago. It was like a century? 2020.
And so the big pause button was pushed.
Yeah.
And then thankfully we were able to get it revived again. But I will turn it over to Renee or Francis to discuss further because they have lots more information than I do about
Thank you, Ms. Abigail. Ms. Renee, you want to jump in, Mom?
Sure. It was an idea, as Abigail said, that was born well before now, and I think it's an excellent idea. The notion of wanting to educate and just share more, whether with our medical professionals or moms, and let them know that we're here to support them. And so, once we were able, we were out of the woods from COVID, we just got back into planning. Miss Anime Rafi also, sort of spearheads everything, and everybody just joins in to come together to get this on the road, and here we are.
Yeah. Now, Ms. Francis, if you want to share anything in that respect, I mean, I'm interested in finding out who you're targeting, obviously. Well,
so we're inviting obstetricians and pediatricians, general practitioners, nurses, midwives, medical and nursing students, as well as expectant mothers and breastfeeding mothers. And we will be holding the breastfeeding conference at the Compass Loft, November 8th and 9th. And the presenter will be Dr. Jack Newman, who is a doctor he's a pediatrician from Canada, who is an expert. He's well-renowned in the topic of breastfeeding, and he will be coming down to speak on several topics that will be through the 2 days. Yeah. So we have 4 sessions in 2 days.
If I might ask, I mean, and I do not believe that a Google research is synonymous with proper, accurate research. So just trying to figure out, the breastfeeding gurus, other names sort of popped up. There's one later I forget. But how do we settle on Dr. Newman in this instance?
I think that's a question for Miss Abby.
Yeah, thank you. I thought so too. That's my highest doctor here.
Dr. Jack Newman is also a lactation consultant, and he has done years of research and practice in this area, and trying to put this in the right way, but he's rather outspoken about what he has discovered and the way that he practices. And I think that those of us who are a little in the know in the breastfeeding support group resonate with the way that he practices. And he's rather no nonsense, and so we know that when he presents something, it's going to be with a good basis, and also it's going to be heard. Okay,
so can I say this? And again, I'm not going to speak for an expert. I'm not going to speak from an exhaustive sort of search. So as I look through, who's it? Because is there such a thing as a breastfeeding, guru? And other words come to mind. There are certainly very knowledgeable people, some that are published. And his name kept sort of resonating to the thing. And I'm always, okay, trust, but let's verify. He's very direct. He seems to be, I wouldn't want to say forceful, adamant, insistent, dogmatic. We use those words. But he certainly conveys with a great sense of confidence.
Yes.
And he seems to present that it's a willingness to defend something as he advocates for it. So he's not as easily swayed. Would that be a fair way?
I think you've summed it up.
Okay.
Very accurately.
And what I'm going to ask you, by him being, I guess, a man, I guess that's male?
Yes.
Or whatever.
He is a male.
Yeah, okay. And why that stuck is that there were 1 or 2 other women and others who came, but to have a man, like a brother protecting and championing his sister or the like, or his nieces, that's expected. But sometimes a man in a woman's space, as it were, can actually lend a lot of credence, or he can be just seen as this guy jumped in the bandwagon. But Dr. Newman seems to be like, hey, if you guys don't understand how important this thing is, let me show you, because I wish I could do it, but it wasn't made this way by God. And that gives more credence to what he says, more conviction to it, and for me, a greater sense of urgency. Would that be a fair way to assess what I think he brings to the table? I haven't met him, I don't know him.
Well, none of us have actually met him in person as yet, but from our knowledge of him, that conveys exactly what we see.
Okay.
And, with the medical profession, we have to be careful who we get to present information, because things are not always just taken at face value.
Yeah.
So when you have someone with his level of expertise and knowledge and experience, then we would expect that he would be taken seriously.
And the reason why I wanted to share that, and I thank you for opening that door, I was a bit hesitant because I think today's world, anybody who steps into the space and presents with that level of passion may be seen, especially since 2020, in a negative light. But this gentleman seems to hold his own. He says, I have the academic credentials, I have the expertise and all the stuff, but even if I didn't, let's use common sense. And that's sort of lacking. So I'm hoping to see that your target audience attends and starts to champion how beneficial this is.
Absolutely.
So if that's an endorsement, I hope it is not, to the contrary, but this is a good time to, give birth and to breastfeed. All right. We're going to take a quick little break. But when we come back, Ms. Renee, when we return, maybe we can talk to you more about some of the conference speakers and how the conference is going to evolve, and then perhaps share with us more about what's happening? Alrighty. Stay tuned. Join us right after.
The rich flavors of Italy just arrived at Subway. Say ciao to the Italianos. Our 3 new Subway series recipes, carefully crafted with an Italian flair. Try the Hot Shot Italiano for an enticing and zesty touch. The tastier than ever Ultimate BMT, generously stuffed with a mix of ham, pepperoni, and salami. Or go all in with the creamy chicken bacon Alfredo. New Subway series Italianos. Chef-crafted greatness in every bite. Elevate your game only at Subway. Delizioso.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
To Miss Abigail Parchment and to Ms. Renee Brown and Ms. Frances Gomez as part of the Cayman's breastfeeding support group.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I only emphasized earlier, because what you do is more than that, but sometimes we don't appreciate how important it is to have support. The bank wants you to support your application for a loan by having collateral. The football team wants the support of their fans so that when they go on the field, your friend wants that moral support. Yeah. Sometimes you just want your suspenders to support your trousers, right? But we don't understand how important support is. Ms. Renee, with that, how can we support you? How can we tell us about the conference? Because I can see that expectant mother 5-10 years from now even. She's just thinking about it, right? Maybe it's a year from now. Together with our partner, could be part of the audience who would attend, especially, and I say this with the greatest respect, those of us who are educated, who've got all kind of degrees in the known ways of the modern world and believing that, pop it in the microwave and out it comes as better. Maybe I'm just sensible or old-fashioned, but I think if it comes from the mom, it's probably better. So, help us, Mom.
You stumped me with that one.
Of course.
To add to the list of persons that we're inviting to the conference, as Francis said, anybody that really cares for a woman who's breastfeeding or, is around someone who's breastfeeding, we're inviting them to come on down. As Francis said, it's going to be on the 8th and the 9th of November at the Compass Loft. And the Compass Loft is the one upstairs. The vault is downstairs. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a comfortable space for persons to just sit down and, take in, share, ask questions, because we're going to have also a question and answer session to facilitate persons who are curious, those curious minds.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think those Q&A sessions are where we learn a lot, at least for me. And as you shared about the audience, the idea that it's a limited seat and this can be a very intimate setting where you can exchange and feel supported.
Yes.
Right? And Ms. Francis, at the end of the day, if we had that early on, sometimes we mightn't have had that trepidation. We might not have given off to the first or second or third month. I mean, there's some moms who continued years into it.
Yes, so sometimes just someone listening in to the radio station now might not have known that the breastfeeding support group exists. Mm-hmm. So just that one mom that hears about the breastfeeding support group or hears from her friend about the breastfeeding support group and wants to attend the conference or just wants to reach out to one of the volunteers for help or more information, just that alone is what is needed in the community so that moms feel supported and encouraged.
Ms. Abigail, either, but no, through you, and you answer, you delegate, about the services that the support group offers. But as I was speaking to this grandmother, she was sharing that for her, when, after she got married and started her family, it was just natural. And her mother was around, and her aunts and the other women, so it was okay. Her daughter came along, she did the same. But when the granddaughter, started to, her own family, things were a bit different. When we were starting to go into the workplace, then it was a challenge. And I look at that in that era and decades since, and I wonder how we truly embraced it. Have we been respectful and supportive of our working moms?
When women go to work as well as raise a child, it certainly adds another level of challenge to that dynamic. But it's her choice, what she wants to do, and our role as a support group is to support any woman with any decision that she wants to make with regard to breastfeeding. We are here to give good information. At the end of the day, it's up to that family to take the information and filter it and do what they want with it, because they're the ones who are going to be feeding that child. At 2 a.m., we're not going to be there. We do home visits, but not at 2 a.m. I don't think you do, Renee. No, Francis.
I'd probably be up at 2 a.m. to help a
anyway.
mom in the hospital, yes, but not at home.
Yes, the shift work. But so we're there to give information, to sit with the mom, to listen to her, to give her support, direct her in whichever way that she needs at that moment. The support group assists mums in the hospital and at home, over the telephone, via text message, video calls even, if they want that. So you don't even have to be here in Grand Cayman to access the services. Certainly in Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, those are also available. And even if you're listening from somewhere else and you think we're fabulous and you want to reach out to us, you can.
So with that, it's a conference, and I use that word deliberate because sometimes we don't see that word unless it's in a relation to maybe tourism or financial service or even, some other, there's a law enforcement conference. But are there any particular objectives, any things that you're hoping to achieve as you go into the conference, and then what you want the conference delegates, could I use that word, participants, to come away with?
So I would say I would really like to see a more openness towards women assisting, supporting mothers who want to breastfeed in every space, at home, at work, in the hospitals, in the community. Even just to become more familiar with how it is in today's world and how we can make adjustments to make it more comfortable for mothers, even if those are the bare minimums, I'd like to see that.
If I may just add to that too, I think something else that we really desperately need is a cohesiveness. There's so many different opinions, as you said, and they obviously cannot all be founded in fact. And so when we're more on the same page, then women will feel more supported, because one of the big things that I hear moms saying is that I was told this, but then somebody else told me that, and then somebody else wanted me to do that, and it's just this information overload, and a lot of it is conflicting.
Yeah, if I might, again, it's not empirical, certainly wasn't exhaustive, but just speaking with the exception of one person, they were all male, and they were all, with 9 people, not even, couldn't get to 10. So many companies have created little spaces, and on the door they put a sign, lactation room. Interestingly, including the woman, if the room label said breastfeeding room or something with breastfeeding, they thought it would be a greater take up than lactation. One of the guys said he didn't understand that word in relation. He worked in the office and the room was there and it was always clean, but he didn't understand what that was. And this is a guy with many professional qualifications. It's just a word. And I wondered, interesting, huh?
Yeah, and we try to fancy things up, right? Maybe we don't like the word breast. I think Francis and I encountered difficulty with Instagram trying to put the word breast in there.
Yeah,
getting blocked.
So this is it, right? Yeah.
So maybe that's why we tend to use these fancier words. But yeah, everybody knows what breastfeeding is.
But it's we're not asking people to do something that is in any way improper or should not be accepted, but it's essential. I watched a mother breastfeed, and what turned out to be her dad. I thought it was the uncle, but it was they're twins, so it's hard to tell the difference. And the way he presented with his daughter was so amazing. The mom had got up and they're in public and he had the shawl, but it wasn't to do anything other than to make sure the child was nurtured, right? And you could just see the love of the family. They're in public enjoying a meal. The little child seemed to have had the best meal of all. And what was so good, the rest of us that are dining were just dining as if, the child went to the buffet and was, getting it. I thought, why can't it be? And that was in a stark contrast to what I had witnessed some years prior, where in a similar setting, people would turn their heads. Oh, what is she doing that there?
Yeah.
I go, because the child hungry. You eating, right? So with that, as we end the discussion, what to you, Ms. Renee first, and then Ms. Francis, and then of course Ms. Abigail. What do you want to say as we close the discussion? Because this is not just an inaugural conference, and I hope it's not biennial, but end of the day, it's essential. So maybe as we talk about the sponsors and what do you want to say to us who are possibly still listening?
Back to, let me just probably jump back into,
of course,
the whole thought of the word breastfeeding or its use being sometimes inappropriate, or persons tend to shy away from using it. You'd be surprised that even while we were, Frances mentioned her IG little conundrum, but also while we were trying to get the ad out, we had to be in a particular space because of its deemed appropriateness for. It could be a long haul, continuous work to get persons to become more comfortable and okay with these things happening. Who knows? But we will forever be championing this cause and letting women know that it's okay. We'll still be reaching out to those that can make a difference, those that can make a change and implement laws and legislations to support these women, so that they can feel the comfort and the support that they need when they go, whether it's to the park, if they have to stop by the side somewhere at the supermarket, wherever they are, to breastfeed. And also, as Ms. Abigail had rightly mentioned, that hopefully our conversations can be very similar when it comes to sharing and supporting with the information that we're providing to these families, so that they don't feel in a time when it's already chaotic, extremely conflicted, because we have so many different opinions or suggestions and instructions coming to you from different persons, and it's just all different. So,
Ms. Francis, if you wish, ma'am.
Well, I wanted to end by just thanking our sponsors. I wanted to mention our platinum sponsors: Integra Healthcare, Optimal Healthcare, the Ministry of Health, Health City, and Ocean Med. I also wanted to mention our gold sponsors: Total Health, HSA, Doctors Hospital, and 7 Mile Medical, and our bronze sponsors, Cayman Clinic and the Children's Clinic. So thank you all so much.
Thank them for recognizing the importance and supporting.
Just listening to the list of sponsors, I'm excited that so many people want to be part of this conference, and that's encouraging, because at the end of the day, it's all about giving information and support to families so that they can know how important breastfeeding is, and empowering them to believe in themselves, trust their instincts. It's their family. They make the decisions.
Yeah.
But if we give them the right information, they will make an informed decision as opposed to just throwing up their hands in despair.
Yeah. Well, I thank you all for coming on. Thanks for everything, and my sincere, respect and love and appreciation for what you do. The way, I think, as Francis, you were complimented by what Miss Abigail was sharing about the benefits. It's to the mom and baby, but it's to the society. It's the now, but it's the future. And I hope that we, as a wider community, would continue to support, this initiative, recognize its importance in our society, and perhaps do what we can to facilitate so that our moms who may struggle, because as I've learned over the years, there's sometimes a little bit of challenge. How do you get the child to latch on? How do you, I can only imagine, go through this thing for so long with all the demands and, no pun intended, the pulls on you, right? And yet we can be there to support. So I trust the conference will be truly, truly a resounding success. And if we can help, please just tell us what to say and how to do it. We'll be happy to come on board.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's the 8th and the 9th of November. So get registered if you haven't already. It's a limited seating, some spaces available. So please reach out to the Cayman's Breastfeeding Support Group. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Dwayne Ebanks. The Water Authority is starting infrastructure upgrade works along West Bay Road near Parkway Drive, opposite Excuse today, with the main works beginning soon thereafter. The work is anticipated to continue for approximately 2 weeks. During this time, Water Authority Cayman says it will maintain two-way traffic on West Bay Road, but motorists are asked to drive with caution in the area. In regional news, Tellusur ends their mobile service in the Netherlands. Tellusur says it will end its mobile service in the Netherlands due to changing market conditions and legislation. The TMN service will no longer be available, affecting 22,000 customers Tellusur is assisting in transitioning to alternative services. A Belizean father and son who have been found alive in Mexico, Luis Camara and his son Johan, were abducted in Mexico and have been found alive. Officials believe it was a case of mistaken identity. They suffered minor injuries and have returned home. Mexican authorities are investigating the incident. That is your latest headlines. I'm Dwayne Ebanks.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Historically, Caymanians have always had a strong connection to the sea, as it provided career opportunities, food supply, means of travel, and communication with the rest of the world. Caymanian sailors became renowned worldwide for being skilled navigators, shipbuilders, fishermen, merchants, and soldiers. A vast amount of Caymanian mariners were employed by Daniel K. Lugwood's giant shipping line, national boat carriers. This career impacted Caymanian communities at large. One such story was that of the last voyage of the St. Clair petrol ore vessel, which exploded whilst at sea on December 6, 1960, with 29 Caymanians on board. The final trip started in November 1960 from Marcus Hook in Philadelphia via the Suez Canal onto Ras Tanura in the Persian Gulf. The ship was 789 feet long, could carry 56,000 tons of cargo, and was powered by a General Electric steam engine, 26,000 horsepower. The vessel was a unique one in that it was a self-unloading oil ore carrier and could carry both solid and liquid cargo at the same time.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
There's something new in the neighborhood. What's new and improved? Eastern Avenue Rubis!
Open from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day, Eastern Avenue Rubis is now being operated by your friends at Reflections. Treat yourself at the fully stocked convenience store while the spooktacular pump attendants fill your ride with the new state-of-the-art Ultra Tech fuel, which improves fuel economy and optimized performance so you drive longer for less. On the way to an event empty-handed, stop by the Eastern Avenue Rubis to fuel up and grab gift certificates for use at Reflections, Hemp and Tobacco, Food for Less and Liquor for Less, Jose's and Eastern Avenue Rubis. Enjoy better service and better prices at Eastern Avenue Rubis. Now open.
See yourself in Reflections.
Reflections, always driving down prices.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And as we get in this, opportunity for this next discussion, just a quick reminder on behalf of the Cayman's, support breastfeeding support group. Their annual conference is coming up. It's an inaugural one on the November 8th and 9th. So please reach out to the support group and register. Now, chance to speak to the wonderful Miss Cassandra Ebanks. And when we look at sometimes events that are hosted by our church, sometimes we see it for just that particular church or that church's congregation or even that particular community. But there are many times when if we would just allow ourselves to make the time, we come away with so much more. Even if we are in church every day, or we should be, like me, or if we haven't been in a very long time. So through you, as part of the the Resident Holiness Youth Convention, share with us. I'm excited to learn from you.
Okay, well, I'm here this afternoon to talk about our 12th annual Cayman Islands District Wesleyan Youth Convention. Now, while it is hosted by the Wesleyan Holiness Church, it's important to note that this is a convention that is put on for all of the young people across the island. Mm-hmm. and the nature and the content and the presentations and the speakers and so on is such that no young person should really miss out on the opportunity to attend one of these conventions. They are packed with relevant information for young people and really designed to help them to develop into not just a more spiritual person, but to cover the whole gamut of their experience, a holistic approach towards the development of young people and hopefully creating leaders, knowledgeable leaders as well.
And as I listen to you and being respectful of our, sort of scheduled time, many times we hear across all divides, from the school to the home to the wider community, we want to develop, this well-rounded young person. We want to take a holistic approach, and we use nice words, but sometimes I wonder if we employ them in practice. And the spiritual aspect of our lives sometimes, I think, get conflated. Sometimes it's confused. Sometimes and again, you guide me, we confuse it with the religiousness of stuff. But that young person who has a very strong biblical perspective is well informed, grounded, and goes through life with a sense of justice. As I say, justice centric. They understand, not just the morality and the ethics and the integrity, but as they look at how life is, there's perhaps an ethos in them of good. And in the world of today, that we see less and less good being portrayed publicly, no matter how much is being done, maybe we need more good. So from that perspective, for our young people, a couple of questions. When we say young, are we looking at 0 to 35? What's the age group in that youth for the conference?
Well, for our church, it is 13 to 35. So it's not just for teens. It's for young adults as well, and heading towards being mature adults. And we always say that, these conventions, we always encourage, we say that the night sessions, we want to see everybody 0 to 100 and more to come out, because the information is so relevant to everybody, and everyone that comes can get something out of it.
Yeah, and recognizing our discussion, and even in the absence of any sort of speaking notes, I was just thinking back to our former discussions, but also what is it? And there may be, as it is in the Cayman context, sort of a definition of a young person, and it certainly doesn't extend to 35. But I was asking, as I was sort of preparing, how many of us recognize that biologically, our organs take, into our mid-20s to develop. For some of us, mentally, our maturity isn't until probably life has given us a level of experience, maybe into our 40s even. So the youthful, the young, the inexperienced, you could be 15 or 51. So I like what you shared. We're not just talking the chronological age, but even if we did, you could be in your 30s and still be rather unaware or ill-advised or insufficiently informed. Can I put that politely? We learn, right?
Yeah.
So when does the conference start, Ms. Cassandra?
It starts on Wednesday, the 23rd of October. That's our opening ceremony.
Is that a week from today? Thereabouts?
Today's Tuesday. It's a week from tomorrow.
From tomorrow. Oh, today's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Susan, my apologies. I was thinking today was Wednesday. This is not so bad. Last week, Monday, I thought it was Friday. And I went through the whole week thinking every day was Friday. I got somebody on Thursday, so you just gave me... I think my blood pressure just came down. I got one more day.
Healing comes in different ways.
Well, you do not know what you just did. Are you sure today's Tuesday?
Today's Tuesday.
Susan, are you sure? Okay. She says
all right, teaching the wrong classes.
Wow. I now understand why I was so... Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that's
anytime.
Not so this is where sometimes it pays attention to pay attention. All right. So next week, Wednesday, right? And how long does this youth conference go on?
5 days.
Okay.
The Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It starts at 7:30. It is in Northside, and that is not a far distance. Nowhere is far in Cayman,
I agree.
although it appears far with the traffic at times.
Yeah.
But if you plan ahead of time, you should be able to get there in good time to be a part, regardless of whether you have to come from Northwest Point or you're coming from the Blowholes or way down in East End. So,
I like I said, nobody's far, but let's come way down east.
okay. So, so it starts at 7:30 each evening, and the Saturday session is that one. You have to be 13 and up
Okay.
for the Saturday workshops.
Okay.
And so we have quite a bit of really great workshops and activities that will be going on Saturday. And like I said, you don't have to be a teen. We invite and we want to see everybody in the community across the islands. If you can just make some time to come out. The Saturday session starts at 8 o'clock. I don't know if you want me to
Yes, please.
share
Yes,
what
please.
we're going to be doing on Saturday. Well, the Saturday sessions start at 8 with breakfast, and we are going to be tackling the issue of developing a biblical worldview. You know, I don't know, Mr. Sterling, if you realize that we live in an age where not very many people are reading the Bible anymore. And unfortunately, some Christians fall into that category too.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're taking our information from other sources.
Yes.
And sometimes that confuses, can cause confusion with the sense of what is right and what is wrong.
Right. Well, something that I was going to ask of you, and not for it to be exhaustive now, and sort not to belabor it, but not even to engage in it further than you wish, but just like we are not reading the scriptures as much as our parents or grandparents did, but when we do, we're probably reading it online. If we have a physical copy, it would appear, and this was informed by one of my friends who teaches Bible study. He says he has a version of the Bible many decades ago, and the same version, and there are words that are missing, words that have been changed, so it's been revised. There have been some edits and the like. The adds, takes out, leaves, and to his construction, changes the interpretation and meaning of that same passage of scripture. But when he moves from one version to the other, he finds that it's even, now he did not use this phrase, but I will. It's watered down. It's so changed that to his mind, it changes the impact of it, the importance of it, but also the way it's so incisive. And I thought, okay, now I'm not a biblical scholar. He gets into that. And I go, wow. So when you were telling me about biblical worldview, I wonder sometimes if when we're reading the scriptures, are we reading it with that sense of inquiry and intrigue and desire to be informed?
Yeah, and perhaps what would be useful too is for us to be a part of a Bible study group, where where we can really get into a little bit more detail about what the different interpretations are, and looking at the context of the scripture and different things like that. But that requires a little bit more than a surface reading of the scriptures. But it's very important for us to delve into the scriptures through Bible study so that we can understand what the text is saying.
And that biblical worldview, we recognize that many companies, whether they see themselves as being willing to be identified publicly as sort of a Christian-owned operated company with those principles, many presumably adopt principles that are in the scriptures as part of their corporate ethos, and maybe that speaks to why they're successful, perhaps why they're perceived to be quote unquote good, in terms of employment or corporate citizenship. But then how do we translate that into us as people so that worldview becomes world action? Speak to us about some of your presenters, if you wish.
Sure. Well, our main presenter, he's no stranger to the Cayman Islands. He is Pastor Philip Gums from Anguilla, and he is he's a part of the Church of God Holiness movement in the Caribbean, and so he is coming down, and he is our main speaker. He is the president of the Anguilla Evangelical Association, served as a district youth coordinator, as a district overseer of the Eastern Caribbean District for the Church of God, and is also the chairman of the Church Caribbean Conference for the Church of God Holiness. He is a and he was an English teacher, and he has his own radio show over there, I think going on 25 years now in Anguilla, Social Solutions. And he has done quite a bit of work with young people, connects very well with them, as a matter of fact, with people of all ages. And so he's going to be he's been here as well and done some other work there. You've probably heard of him before. So he's going to be our main speaker. And we're going to be looking at another one of the lady that is going to be doing the Saturday session is Naomi Jonety. You might have heard of her.
Yes, fantastic lady.
Yes, and she does a lot of work in the schools, to John Gray High School and so on. And so she's going to be doing that session, developing a biblical worldview. Then we have team building and so on. That's always an exciting part that everybody enjoys. Then Reverend Philip Gums is going to address the whole idea of wokeism and cancel culture and postmodern ideas of truth. A lot of these things would resonate with our young people today. And Miss Donnie McCoy, she's the youth president at Northside Wesleyan Holiness Church. She is going to be doing a session on truth and social media, how to discern truth from error, addressing the fake news culture. Of course, no session would be good with complete without some good games and stuff for after lunch and so on. So Mr. Carl Morgan, head of physical education at John Gray, he is going to be up there with us, and he's going to be doing volleyball and so on. And he's a really strong Christian as well, and very impactful. And then at the end, we have an open forum where the young people can ask any question at all that they have. And Pastor Gums, Pastor Kim Evans, Mr. Carl Morgan, Miss Donnie McCoy, they'll be addressing those questions for our young people.
I appreciate you sharing that, because, whether it's Carl or Pastor Kim or Naomi, we interact with them. Many of us know them. If you know Naomi, she just has a passion, a heart of service, and the humility in her. Just remarkable. Her willingness to immediately not just pray with and for you, but to seek out how she can help.
Yes.
It is
hard. She has a servant's heart.
It's just so inspiring. And yet, in today's age, that you shared, how we may see the world around us, and a simple act that many of us thankfully still do. We sit, we eat, whether it's in a restaurant or whether it's in the privacy of our office, and we say a quick little grace. We bless our food. Our Father reminds us all, you do that for two reasons. One, you say your grace, you bless your food because, one, you got food to eat. You're thankful for that. But secondly, you can eat the food that you have. What does seafarers say? Water everywhere, not a drop to drink. If they're out at the ocean, there's nothing there. So with Miss Naomi, she's willing to do that. And then Carl, he's just, he's youthful, he's energetic, he's sincere, he's charismatic, but he's humble.
Yes.
Right? So I say that for our parents who are listening, for our youth who are there in our communities, come out, just those two individuals. Your life will be forever changed in a positive way. And anybody who doesn't know Tuggy, I like his father, just an imposing figure of love,
Both of those young people were my students at John Gray as well. So it's really special working with them now.
Yeah.
As well on a different level and seeing how they have grown in the Lord and their passion for service and for God and for sharing the gospel.
Well, as Ms. Vito reminds us, by their fruits you shall know them. So your impact on them have now caused them to be impactful on others in such a positive way. And
I hope I had a small little part.
Well, you know what? Best impact people in a way that is prayerful and purposeful. You'll see the positiveness. You'll see. But so how do we be a part of this? I mean, do we sign up? Do we just?
Okay. Yeah. So the first thing I wanted our audience, listening audience, to know is we didn't talk about the theme. So the overall theme. They would have heard us talk about different topics and stuff within the theme, but the overarching theme this year is the whole question of what is truth.
Okay.
What is truth? And that's the theme, and that's the focus, and that's the drive behind that's the whole concept of what we're going to be looking at. Some of the like truth about who God is. He exists and he sets the standard. Truth about the Bible, it's still relevant. Truth about who I am and why I'm here, our purpose in life. Sticking to the truth in a world full of lies. Those are some of the topics that our key speaker is going to be addressing. How do you sign up? Give me a call. My number is 925 1930, 925-1930. Call me and I will connect you with everything that you need in order to be a part of this year's convention.
And I like the idea, what is truth? And that would sound almost as if that's an obvious question and answer. And yet we hear the talking heads, most in the media, it was an alternate truth. But we grew up thinking, well, it's either it's true or it's not. There can be different opinions, but truth is truth. But maybe it isn't. So this could be relevant to all of us.
Yeah, because we're living in a time where there is the notion that everything is relative and there's no absolute truth. And that is causing a lot of problems. While we might think that makes us appear more enlightened, it actually has a lot of negative consequences as well, and so and it's that's where we talk about having the biblical worldview as our base to jump off from, and so we're hoping that we will be able to guide our young people back to the source of truth. Scripture says you will know the truth and the truth will set you free, and Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And truth is God's word. And so on our theme verse is sanctify us by your truth because your word is truth. So we're directing our kids back and our young people and our young adults back to the author of truth. That's a question that even Pilate asked Jesus. And, little did he know he was looking at truth.
And that's the importance, I think, of for some of us, honesty is what we look for. Truth. Truth in something, And with truth comes trust, confidence. And if something is truthful, it has a certain level of appeal, but it also has credibility. It has respect. And maybe in today's world more than ever, we're unwilling to question something and hold it against what is, truth. So to our parents who, for some of these young people, will be the way that they will get to the conference, but some of us as adults who can drive, we still fall in that. What in closing is your biggest appeal as to why we should attend? Because Northside is not just tranquil and inviting, but your conference is not just, as you phrase it, a youth convention, but by your definition that extends to all
anybody,
of us.
And anybody. Yeah, I really encourage people to come out. These conventions, and this is our 12th one, a lot of thought, planning, and preparation are placed into each one of these conventions so that they are relevant. And when persons come out to them, that it's not a waste of time. They're highly organized and well planned out, and all of the topics are prayerfully and thoughtfully put together so that they every year we have the convention is just the exact word and the theme and the topics and the issues that need to be addressed in that space and time. And so I strongly encourage parents for their young adults or their teens, have a vision for your kids.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why we don't embrace things like this the way that we need to embrace it is because we haven't really sat down and put together a vision for our young people, a vision for our children. And because if we did, we wouldn't be content with them staying at home on their devices or playing their games, when there is something out there that can help them to develop, help them to, grow up to be matured young men and women that have knowledge and wisdom and all the rest of it, So I think if we have I would challenge parents to, ask questions about the convention, see what it's all about, and some of the videos the young people have put together, they're already out there in social media. Look at it, listen to, and come down and see what it's all about, and it will definitely be something worthwhile being at, and they will see that for themselves.
Well, I'm glad that you made time to come on. I'm thankful that we have not just individuals like you, Miss Naomi and Carl. I mean, young, passionate professionals who are so purposeful, who are so prayerful, who want from the rest of us a life that brings much reward now and in the hereafter. So hopefully the wider community will join you next week Wednesday.
Well, I look forward to it.
Thanks so much, Miss Cassandra.
I would like to give a shout out to our main sponsor, Wendy's. I want to thank them for coming alongside this year. And then also Radio Cayman always comes alongside. Yes. Also want to thank Foster's and Big Fish 95.5 for coming alongside and supporting us as well. Yeah. And we're looking forward to an exciting and fulfilling time, and that a lot of young people, their lives are going to be changed.
Yeah. Well, there's strength in our community when there's unity, and we have unity when there's peace. And with peace, we can find prosperity, and with prosperity, we can find what is actually, overall arching, and that is a people that is, imbued with the spirit of giving and thanksgiving. So, thanks very much, Ron.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to other discussions, not just when your conference rolls around again for your 13th, but between now and then, what we can do, and to our youth, hopefully, we know school's going to be out for a couple of days. I think this weekend for some, right?
Thursday, Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
And then all of next week.
All of next week, right? Thank you so much, Ron.
So there's no reason why the whole island can't be out to this convention.
Well, like the Dear Martin song, the whole island comes out to the convention.
I don't think he said that.
I'm sure Mr. Dave will say that. In Northside.
That was a different event.
Thank you.
That is in Northside.
Well, with love and grace and with support, we'll find our place. So thanks very much, Ms. Cassandra.
If they need transportation to, again, 925-1930, and we'll organize that for you too, regardless of where you're at. We'll find you and we'll bring you.
And this is a space that you want your children to be at because they're going to be loved and nurtured.
For sure.
Supported and protected. All right. Okay. Well, let's pause. Our friends from the HSA will join us next, and we're going to talk about the HPV vaccine. It's a Tuesday. Now I know where I am at. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Join us today and be the key to breaking down HIV stigma and getting educated. The Cayman AIDS Foundation is a nonprofit organization working diligently to eliminate HIV stigma and to help make a difference. We are dedicated to overall wellness, community campaign, and education outreach programs. Know your status. Get tested today. Early detection could save your lives. Call the HSA and make an appointment. This message has been brought to you by the Cayman AIDS Foundation.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise Him, praise Him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise Him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise Him, praise Him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the dues of my faith. Rock my soul in the dues of my faith.
Praise time.
I know He cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise Him, praise Him, praise Him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very, very much for joining us. And as we have the opportunity to continue a partnership with our Health Services Authority, and there are times when, on a personal level, I get to be quickly reminded and grounded that if you surround yourself with good people who bring, not just love and support and laughter, not just through the levity but learning to the table, you'll find your best days even better and your bad days even be great. So to Dr. Lamsey Ebanks first, welcome. How are you today, Ma?
I am good. I'm good. How
Good?
are you doing?
The day started out me. Then I got a phone call and it was okay, and then it went and now it's like woo.
Then I got here.
Yeah, let's go with that. No, but that's how life is, right? There are ebbs and flows, there are tides that go, and it's not just because of the pull and tug of the moon and the like, but it's a reflection that if we, I'll put it this way, when you go to church sometimes, and I haven't been in a long time, it's not what you get out of it, sometimes it's what you take to it. And in that space, and as we sit at this table, it's a chance to ask questions, to do so with the sense of wanting to understand, with being informed, with doing something that could affect us. Ms. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Having a good day.
Having a good day?
Yeah.
That is awesome. And that's the day we should all have, right? A good day that gets better. Would you want to give perhaps a quick intro and maybe, and then we'll come back to Dr. Lamsey Ebanks, your role at HSV as a registered nurse and like me, what would you want to say?
Sure. So I am a school health nurse, and so that is under the public health department. And I'm with the primary school team, and we also have the nurses that are set at each of the high schools as well. So we do the primary team. We work with both primarily our government schools, but also with the private schools and assist them. With this program, we definitely are doing everybody. It's everybody is involved to try to get the biggest reach as possible. And so...
Dr. Lamsey Ebanks, we recognize that in our schools, much is shared and learned, and some it is as informal as it is formal. Some it is as informed as ill-informed. And we think, as parents, that our children are just learning in the classroom, and that whatever they take away is all good, until later on, sadly sometimes, when they become parents, we realize how our children labored under some things that we're like, well, how did we not know that? And thankfully, it's not all bad, not all destructive, but sadly sometimes it is.
Yeah, helps them grow.
See how positive she is? Now you tell me.
Makes them stronger.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
But then you look back and you go, well, why? I only wish I could have, would have, should have, had a, done a, whatever.
Yeah. So HPV is human papillomavirus.
Human papilloma
virus. Because I'm just saying HPV.
Yes.
And
human papillomavirus.
Not papilloma. And it has over 200 types. But 40 of them are sexually transmitted, and there are 12 high-risk ones that are known to cause cancers. And they cause 5% of all cancers worldwide. And if we think about, each of us at least know, unfortunately, 5 to 10 people that have had cancer. And so 5% worldwide is quite a large number. And we're talking about the only one that can be early detected is cervical. So I'm going to put in my little blub there for pap smears every year. Even if you don't have a pap smear, once you have a period and it's regular or irregular for at least a year, you should at least meet a gynecologist. It doesn't mean that you're going to have an invasive exam, but have a relationship with as a woman. So cervical is the only one that you can pick up before there are health problems. There's also throat and mouth cancers, oral cancers, throat cancers, anal cancer, penile cancer. So that's over 5% of all cancers.
Mhm.
So that's the health risk that it poses. And that's why we are trying to get the vaccinations done so that we can decrease the vaccine actually decreases, I think it's 90% of all of the cancers. So that, I think, is a large number. And if we can protect ourselves from some sort of cancer, I think it would be helpful. They've also started to look at it in relation to, because everybody talks about sexually transmitted and with skin cancer. So they're looking at it with squamous cell carcinoma as well, some of the types. So it's a little broader than just sexually transmitted cancers. And we don't like to think about our children having sex. But I tell people, if you think about how old your grandmother was when she had you, but she had your mother, or your father.
Yeah.
That age group it's not in their 30s and 40s most of the time for the first baby. So it's been that people become sexually active at a younger age when you become interested in the opposite sex and the hormones and all of that. So the key to the vaccine is to try to get it in before that. Because once
Get
you've
the
been
vaccine in.
exposed, once you've been exposed, you've been exposed. And almost everybody that is sexually active has had HPV. Almost everybody. So there are over 200 types. So, I mean, a lot of them don't cause any problems. The ones that do, they're big problems.
Okay. I wanted to ask, and today's discussion, I sort of try to do what I normally do, but I wanted to step beyond it a bit and look at some of the things that have been reported in the media that are no longer there. Some of the controversial, less controversial, both on this side of the world and other parts. And for me, and I say this to be guided by the two of you whom, respectfully, Ms. Jennifer, I look up to, Dr. Dwayne Ebanks, not just as a mother and a wife, but a strong intellect, a healthcare provider, but who's so candid and direct. And if you speak to her, she's polite, but she doesn't hold any punches. Would that be fair to say, Mom?
Yes, it
right?
is.
And so those are the kind of people that I would love to be a student in her class, a patient to her, sort of physician's expertise, because I would learn. But I also find that for me as a person, I always have questions. I've always believed that's one of the best ways you can learn. Never to be disrespectful, but never to be so dissuaded from pursuing that thing that you want expounded so that you can, comprehend to some extent. So I'll try to, mitigate that desire by also following some level of public diplomacy.
Okay.
Would that be fine?
That's okay.
All right. You said 200 plus HPVs, right? 40, I think you shared sexually transmitted. 12 of
high risk.
And that's 12 of the 40?
12 of the 40.
Right.
12 of the 200.
Right. And then we know we
high
have
risk.
a couple, or 12 of the 200, and then we have this Gardasil that we give to people in whichever, right?
Covers 9.
And that one covers 9 of the 12. And
that's an increase. The last one
That's
only covered 4,
yeah.
right? So now we have Gardasil 9, which is great that we have it here to spread around.
All right.
But the two that are 16 and 18 covers 70% of all of the cancers. So those were two that was always there. 16 is actually 90% of all of the oropharyngeal or mouth and throat cancers. And then 6 and 11 are 90% of all the genital warts and laryngeal papillomatosis, or warts in the larynx that can occur, because you can also spread it to your unborn child. And that can cause a lot of problems, not at birth, if it's severe at birth, but usually post-birth, because the vocal cords grows warts, and so they have difficulty actually breathing or getting to.
So is the first sort of infection, again, I want to make sure it's the right word, the person that gets it has to be true of those, say, 12 or even the 40. It has to be sexually transmitted.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to make sure that the plantar warts and the finger warts and the warts that every kid has, those do not have cancerous long-term effects. So we're talking about the ones that cause genital warts, are mainly the ones that are.
And then by being sexually transmitted, as you engage with your partner or plural, then that has a knock-on effect.
Yes, it affects all the areas that can get a sexually transmitted disease.
Yes.
We're trying to be politically correct, right?
But this is where, like, in talking, it through today's discussion, I've come at it from the perspective that I like how you shared your grandparents, what age were they conceiving, marriage or no marriage? What age were your parents, depending on when you, and then ask yourself, well, what age were you?
Did you start?
Right.
In honesty.
And just be within
you don't have
yourself.
to tell your children.
Yeah.
Just think it in your mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then if you go through that and then you ask, well, what if you knew then what you knew now? What decisions would you have made? How would that have affected your health? And to what extent your health has been impacted because of things you did or didn't do? And then, are you willing to ask questions? So, nurturing from that perspective, we go into our schools, back to my first sort of thing. We're thinking, as parents and probably teachers, that all the stuff transpires in the school is always informative and instructive and accurate and all these things. And I don't know, but I remember things that older children told me, and I go, that must be true because, Big John has told us. Only to find out, no, that's not really having no clue. Where'd he get it from? Some older child.
Yeah.
And 30 years later, you go, boy, we were really dumb.
Yeah.
So how do we help to make sure that they're healthy?
Education.
Okay.
Yep. Getting that education in there from the right people too, because the other thing too is, this has been happening for a long time. Children getting information from children, especially in areas that might be uncomfortable for them to discuss with adults. Additionally, it's also uncomfortable for adults to discuss with their children. So with that still going on, we also have social media, unfortunately, that is a huge educator to our children, and it's mostly inaccurate education. Where they're going to seek out information is not the correct sites. So it's about education. It's educating parents to be able to have the tools and resources to speak to their children in an appropriate way at different ages. And, giving the right amount of information going up. Also not to cover their eyes. That's, not to wait too long to talk to them. At schools, we do have puberty talks. So the nurses, our school nurses are in there discussing that at the primary school level. So we open that conversation, And then at the high schools, they have STD talks and ongoing sexual health talks. So we're providing it from that side, but also the community, the families are also an important part of that as well.
Yeah. If I may ask Dr. Lamsi, so from that perspective, we look at information, I just use that term loosely. And sometimes as a very engaged, informed parent, trying to be responsible, you want to get information. Let's take the word vaccines and other inoculations. We want to make sure that our children get it because we want them to be healthy. And then we hear this, we hear that, and there's all this thing that leads to more questions. With HPV, that itself sometimes has presented some increased questions for parents.
I think the main concerns about HPV thus far has been whether or not it affects fertility. So initially there was a talk about it causes premature ovarian failure, which is your ovaries stop working before the age of 40. But that has not been proved, and we've been using this vaccine now for over 10 years worldwide, and we don't have the statistics to prove causation between that. In fact, it's the opposite, because if you do have HPV, then you increase your risk of infertility and having complications of not being able to get pregnant or having complications of carrying the pregnancy if you do have a severe case of HPV. So it's the opposite that actually occurs. The side effects is the same as with any other vaccine, usually at the site, redness or swelling, can cause a bit of dizziness and mild fever. I mean, that's it. There's nothing else on the list. And I checked the VARs, which is where they put if you have any vaccine-related side effects that are severe worldwide, you have to put it in there and look for it, and there wasn't any. So it's a safe vaccine. I think more of the problem with it is not the vaccine itself, which we have with a lot of vaccines is the problem, but it's the whole thinking about your child with respect to sex. And I think some of the religious sectors of every society, they push for abstinence. So they are of the belief that you're not having sex till you get married, so you don't need it. But I would say, but you're going to have sex, so you might as well just get it anyway. So you're not saying that you're going to be celibate. You're saying that whenever it happens. So let's prepare you for it, just like how they make you go and meet with your priest and have to do these premarital sessions. Then you're just in preparation. It's not saying go there. And there's no way having HPV vaccine doesn't mean that you can have unprotected sex. You still have all those other STDs. I like to tell my kids there too that I can't fix at all, and you're going to have the rest of your life, which is herpes and HIV. Those are still out there. So you still have to promote use of condoms and protection if you're going forward with that, even in marriage. You don't want to have children, or whatever method is safe within your belief system. So I don't think I don't think it's going to cause kids to have more sex, to have the conversation. It may actually cause less because they're going to be more aware of the potential side effects of it. And I think it's just preparation for whenever you do have sex, not saying that you're going to do it during that age group.
Is it then that the HPV vaccine, is it intended for those who have not yet engaged in sexual activity, or does it matter?
Initially, we really would like to catch them before sexual activity, which is why the age group is such that it is. But they've widened it up to 26 years now. So, I mean, you've been exposed to HPV, but maybe, like I said, maybe not the really 12 severe types, or the high-risk types. And so even though you've already have sex, you can still get vaccinated. If you've always had protected sex, if that person is out there, great for them, then they can get the vaccine as well. Yeah. So it's...
Yeah. But and this is where I find that even as a medical professional, or as you are, and I'm trying to come at this with not just respect, but ask the question that somebody may want to ask, but for whatever reason, reluctant to do so, especially publicly, right? We want information, we want it to be timely and accurate, we want it to be able that we can use. So if a person has HPV, one of the 200 or one of the 40, or even one of the 12, that's taking this now at age 25 or and ask later maybe older, is there any benefit to that? They're already sexually active to begin with. They may or may not have from the medical perspective.
Because each type, you can get each type of HPV. So it's not like if you get one type of HPV, you're not going to get the rest. So then it would cover for the other one. So maybe you have the one, you may have the one that is genital warts, but now we'll cover you for the ones that causes oropharyngeal cancers. So it's because it's not one vaccine covers all of them, then I would say the chances of you having all 12 or all 9, that's an interesting lifestyle. And we'd have another conversation for that. So you should have it covered.
Could we ask, if it's possible, right, when you come back from the break, when I ask you to list the 200, you may want to list the 40.
List the 9.
Right? But we're specifically going to ask about the 9 and the 12.
I could do the 9.
Right. And how they will play out so that, and then if there are some in that 9 or 200 that are visible, you'll know, and some that aren't, and how they will be detected and the like. Could we talk to me about that so that people understand that you cut your finger, you'll see it. But something may be bothering you internally and you're not quite sure what it is, right? Until you get a blood test or a bone scan or whatever. So could that help us? You follow and play along? Yeah?
No
All right. I'm going to pause. I'm going to take a break. If you want to ask a question, please do so. Grateful to the HSA for this continuing partnership. Hopefully through education and awareness, the honesty and integrity that we bring to our discussions will inform, enlighten, hopefully, engage us in a way that we're responsible, respectful, hopefully position us to make decisions that are impactful and positive for our children. That's the plan. Look at that.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Dwayne Ebanks. Tire pilings up in local landfills may soon be sent off island for recycling. On its Bonfire Hub procurement website, government has posted a request for quotes asking the potential supplier to remove waste tires from each of the landfills on Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. The supplier would then be, quote, responsible for transporting the tires to a foreign jurisdiction for recycling in a licensed recycling facility. The deadline to apply is the 15th of November. In regional news, Guyana has introduced GRDB 18, a high-yielding rice variant tolerant to waterlogging and harsh conditions. It aims to boost rice production and resilience. The variety shows strong yield potential and superior grain quality. And Barbados has signed an air service agreement with Qatar to enhance regional air connectivity and international cooperation. The agreement allows airlines from both countries to operate without limitations, promoting tourism, education, and trade. That's your latest headlines. I'm Dwayne Ebanks.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
You can now renew your driver's license or motor vehicle license online, and you don't need an ESID number. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Visit www.dvdl.gov.ky.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Radio Cayman, your #1 community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also, put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. And from the HSA, Dr. Dwayne Ebanks, together with her colleague, a school health nurse, right? Yes, Nurse Jennifer Walker. Did I get it right?
It's Walker.
Walker? Nurse Jennifer?
That's okay, though. That's all right.
No.
It looks like Walker.
I can't see it from here, so. But thank you. And it's just why I'm grateful that you reminded me how to say it correctly. Is because it's important. And it's important with everything. The name of the dish, you have it wrong, you tell your children the name of the medicine, the name of stuff. So a person's name is important. And if your name is Robert, but you say Robert, hey, and I'll call you Robert.
Yep.
Right? I want to say it as respectful. So
Definitely.
Jennifer
Walker.
Wow.
Walker. Just pretend that there's an L. Just Walker.
Just Walker? Dr. Dwayne Ebanks, you think we can get that right today?
Yeah.
Yeah?
In my line of work, though, the names of some of these kids, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Don't feel bad. I had to do a delivery one time. The man's name was Edisar Valapillo Nikrishan. So don't feel too bad.
There you go.
You memorized it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a story for another time. Maybe after, a little line, but we'll figure it out. I was just asking as we went into the break and that discussion, is it possible? Because I think sometimes we don't see the importance of some things. And if you have an inquiry mind like mine, and in a position where I can speak to someone like you who very candid, very purposeful, we can come away better informed. So of the 12 that are at high risk and the Goddess of 9 beats the 9, what are those 9?
Okay, so the 9 are 6 and 11, which I said before were the ones that cause genital warts and laryngeal papillomatosis, which is the baby's more affected by that.
Right. And before you go, we would see the genital, we would see those?
In males, you're more likely to see, but in females, because you have the vagina, the inner lining, it's unlikely.
Okay.
But again, in females, you also have the pap smear, which picks it up earlier than anything else. So it's the only one that you pick up before there's a visible finding or there's a health need would be via a pap smear.
Okay.
So we have that.
And also in the labia.
Yeah.
They would get them on the labia too.
Okay.
And then you have 16 and 18, which cause 90% of all. I think I said it was 16 that causes 90% of the oropharyngeal. Then they've added now 31, 33, 45, 52, and 58, which make up the rest of the genital wart section more so than anything else, because those are the ones that you get on that cause the most issues.
And if you were already, or if you are already sexually active, taking it would
statistically you have not been exposed. It's unlikely that you've been exposed to all 9.
Okay. And the chances then of you having, say, one of the 9 and not knowing, statistically, is that possible?
Very.
Okay. And
because sometimes I think it's something like 80% you have nothing, so you don't know. It's just if you look for it with the pap smears.
But you'll be able to transmit it. And it's only through sexual activity?
Through, sexual.
Otherwise, other than birth.
Fluids and birth. So only if you go through the birth canal is the risk. So if you're known to have genital warts, then a vaginal birth is probably not the best idea.
Okay. And I know in our initial discussions, there was a certain age group that was targeted, but something you just shared in makes me think that we've expanded the age group.
Well, I mean, we try to get from 9 to 11 was initially the first. That's the gold standard. That's where we want to get. But we didn't want to lock ourselves into that alone. Not only did we lock ourselves in with the age group initially, but we locked ourselves in with the sex of who we could give it to, which bothered me from day one because technically the girls weren't giving it to themselves. So I always wondered, why didn't we have the boys involved? So recently they opened it up so that the males can have it as well. Well, or getting it in the schools. Previously, the girls only were getting it in the schools, and then if you had a son that you wanted to get it, you'd have to come into public health and get it. So those are two ways we've expanded who we're catching, and then up to the 26-year-old is opening it up. It was always available, but it's more widely available now and understood that you can go up to, well, it's actually up to 45 years.
It's 9 to 45 is what it's approved for.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at...
And if you're immune suppressed, it would help as well.
Yeah. Our life expectancy, I've got a sad feeling that I may be adjusted in a decade, but now she's fine. Being what we have statistically available, we're living longer.
Well, my kids are looking at the seasons of your life. It's very depressing.
Yeah.
If you Google it.
And this is where I think having these discussions around the dinner table or within our settings, and to you as not just women, but women in the healthcare profession, as respected and informed as you are, I don't think we give our children or young people sufficient credit, but equally important opportunity to ask questions that they would probably want to ask, but sadly may be asking amongst themselves. I don't know about any other parent, but there are things I kind of not quite sure how to talk to my children about.
I always say that with the social media now, a lot of people look at it in a negative way, and I don't.
Okay.
Because that's always a first step. So if they're looking at a certain meme, or if you talk about something and then you can Google it and get a meme, and then you show what is wrong in that, like, well, no, that's not true. This is what happened, and so that helps. And I was surprised, like, when you get your first period, I Googled it and I was expecting like horrible. And it wasn't. It was a lot of videos and a lot of cartoons and a lot of things to discuss. So we can use the social media to our benefit. One, to guide them towards where to get appropriate information. .org.edu is what I tell my kids all the time. Anybody can put anything on Wikipedia. So those are the areas that you look at. And then I also tell them, point out what's wrong. So if this is incorrect information. I mean, you see some stuff and you have to laugh at it and then talk about it. Is this really possible? And then, so you can use the social media to your benefit. You just have to be aware of it as well. And because they talk in memes now, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But you have to try to figure it out. So you look at the memes and then you're like, some of them are funny, and you talk about it, okay, that's not true, and they're being sarcastic, and you use it to your advantage.
But that's Jennifer, as the doc was sharing, that means that we as the adult, the parent in particular, we need to be conscious and deliberate to become informed, so that when to use, maybe I'll extract from our friends who are educators, a teachable moment. The child's looking at something, we'll use the meme, this thing, and then if we're sufficiently equipped and informed and courageous, we can say, well, actually, that's not accurate because of this. Use it, but we got to be willing to do that. And sometimes we just leave it alone and go, oh, that's foolishness, but we don't say no more.
Yeah, it just comes back to that education piece, just being able to have those conversations, have them with your doctors. Come and speak to the school nurse as well. There's lots of other programs out there too. The Family Resource Center, that they do great work there too. And so, it's knowing, I agree that social media is a part of our lives, right? It's everywhere. It definitely is a way that that the kids communicate. And but again, it's educating how they use it and where they go to be able to get some of those answers. And, you know, using it lightheartedly as well, you know, that's always important with kids, is to put a little joke into it. So it's good to be able to be aware of what's out there. So, you know, with Dr. Lamsley actually looking it up to see what's there, like what is at the top of the Google search. Parents can do that too, you know, go into it, just remember who you were when you were younger and the things that you were curious about, and know that they're also going to be curious about those things. So know what information is readily available to them, so that you can be their best advocate.
Well, I guess too, like we are told in the financial service, know your customer, know your child. How did your child respond? For me, the classes that had a little bit of levity, I learned better. You know, the information was there, but it wasn't beaten over your head. There was a little bit of, you know, lightness to it.
Yep.
But I also wanted fact. Your opinion was okay, but don't conflict the two. Sometimes our children are very, very much like that. You know, they want it this way. Sometimes you need to give it to them in a way that is a little bit more palatable, right? So with that in mind, can I then ask, with the HPV vaccine, is it mandatory?
No.
Okay, for nobody. Okay. Is it that if the child in school is getting it, will the parents, A, be informed, and B, have to consent?
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. And if the child wants it or doesn't want it, the parent wants it, doesn't want it, where does that weigh in? Yeah, But see, we're asking you because you're the authority.
Position.
Okay, but
no, that's okay. the whole thing of assent and a child and their body, not just in Cayman, in the world, is still questionable. And for us, according to the child law, you're a child until you're 18. So it really is your parents' decision until then. The age of assent has to do with sexual activity. So it's always been in terms of getting contraceptives and in terms of elsewhere getting abortions. So not really in terms of vaccines. So we would still have to get parental permission. And if your parents don't give permission, you can't get the vaccine.
Right.
But when you turn 18, you're still in the age group. So on your 18th birthday, you can go get the vaccine.
And this is where, and I hope I don't come across for or against. I don't believe in, say, being neutral. And as for those who don't understand that, I liken it to having a beautiful, you know, fast, red, blue car, nice sports car. And it's in neutral, and you're racing it up. It goes nowhere. So to me, being neutral,
gets you nothing.
Being impartial and objective, being honest and sincere, and have a sense of humility. Those are important things. So in our discussion, I want people to understand that this is about being informed. And the more you ask reputable, credible people with time-lapse information, you come away. So the 18-year-old or the 26-year-old who has already been sexually active, what we said, 45, I think. Again, I go back to that. You've already been, but it's still probably at the very least a good opportunity to speak with your gynecologist, your primary health provider, and say, hey, you know, does this make sense? And you're saying resoundingly yes.
Yes.
Male as well as female.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do we have to take another break, Miss Susan? She says no? Oh, isn't she fantastic? I mean, as much trouble as I give her, go to the breaks late. Thank you, Miss Susan. And I'll share that, as everybody knows, Radio Cayman tries to facilitate. We try to accommodate. We try always to ensure that we're responsible and respectful in our presentations, as much as I may have a little bit of laugh at times. You know, I never want to take out my frustrations on anybody that's not deserving. But I'm honored that you guys would share it, because these conversations are difficult, even at my age, that I'm not in my teens anymore. Although look at that, look at that, youthful and energetic. Be quiet. But we're parents, right? We're going to be grandparents, God's willing, but we're going to impact people's lives because they may, unknown to us, value what we say. Not because we're physicians and healthcare providers like you, but just because. So with that now, is it appropriate to ask about any myths? I think back to presentations in the past about Gardasil trials in, say, India, for instance, or an article presented on CNN decades ago. I still see it's vivid in my mind. I almost can remember the lady's name. I can see the tears in the eye and her allegations about how she thought it affected her 13-year-old, right? Washington, D.C. Suburb. She comes on the screen, and she was hurt, and that resonates with me. 36 years later, to this day.
Well, it's always the negative that resonates.
Yeah.
And as human beings, we always try to find a reason for what is happening to our child, which is what happened a lot of time.
Yeah.
Especially with autism and other vaccines. But that is the time when autism becomes, when you see it, when the child starts to use that section of the brain and you realize it. So developmentally, that's when it occurred. And so people were looking for anything that occurs around that time as well. But we do, like I said, a lot of research into the vaccines before they are released. And then after they are released, you have to report every side effect and specific side effects. And there are no major ones. There was no proof that there is relationship between it and ovarian failure. I'm not too sure what the lady said it caused her daughter to have.
The daughter passed away. She alleged that, she got the vaccine. What was striking about that, right? And the reason that caused me to read up more, because we like cause and effect. We are quick to blame. And this was in the early days of Gardasil coming on the market, and the reporter, I remember this vividly. He came on, it hit one news cycle and didn't repeat. And that caught because I wanted to hear it. And I caught the beginning, I thought I missed the word. Came on, interviewed her, I can see her. And she was alleging, well, because, she's black, she's poor, she's from here, she gets no attention, right? That was her allegation. He was going to present and be the champion. And as he asked, there was raw emotion, there was honesty, there was a conviction in her that what she saw and experienced. Here's a 13-year-old getting this thing in a short order, she's dead. And that was striking. Like I said, this was almost 36 years ago. That stuck with me.
Yeah. But I don't think I've seen anything in my research of it causing death. Even Guillain-Barré, which is a common side effect of a lot of vaccines that can be difficult and cause permanent damage or long time of rehab, has not been associated with this vaccine at all. So it's all areas of the sight and a little nausea, dizziness, tired.
Dizziness maybe,
That's it. Nothing untoward.
And the thing is,
no rash, nothing of that.
Yeah. And you said it's been 10 years, right?
Yeah. By 2014, I think, is when they rolled it out in the U.S. for girls.
And I think as we look at that, this is where the conversations, with us as parents, with our young children, son and daughter, we go with them with their checks. We have these conversations as disquieting as it may be for us and uncomfortable. It's not if, but when. And the child makes that informed decision. I think it'll make it healthy. They may postpone their activities. It may make them be more cautious. Whether they're exercising, now you know what to do in terms of that particular exercise so that you reduce the risk of injury or you get the most benefit. This is no different. And ignoring something doesn't make it go away. At least that's what I think.
Pretending it's not happening.
Yeah, pretending. We do that. So with that, I'm hoping that people will ask questions, come into, the Women's Health Center.
Well, I'm always welcome to come ask questions. I tell all the kids, the problem, adolescence is a space close to my heart because I think they're the lost. They're the lost generation. They're the forgotten area because they don't get sick and they're not complaining and they don't really want to see you as their parent. So they're not bringing anything to you. Unlike all the other ages where the minute they have something to tell you, they come. The adolescents, the further away from you they can get, they're happy. And so they don't come to the doctor. And that, I think, is a big deal. Like, I think you still need to keep your yearly appointment. So that way, you still have that relationship with your physician. And then these are the things that you can talk about and ask.
Yeah. May I ask, and you guide me that I ask the question properly, but to elicit the proper response. We can see us as adults, and maybe our women will go and will get the pap smear and the other one. but we'll do that as adults. Sometimes we may or may not take our daughters, the mothers take their daughters. But at what age should we do that? And then what about our sons? As we go to the doctor, we're not just checking eyes and the hearing and the heart rate and whatever else the checks are, but have these types of conversations and these types of checks for our girl children as well as our boy children, or should we wait until they decide to do it?
Well, like I say, you should have your yearly visit with your pediatrician. If you have a GP that you go to, that you have a relationship with,
right?
So then this can be discussed. I think as long as you have a period, and it's been consistent for a year, but if you have irregular periods, that's another reason to go. You should have a relationship with your gynecologist. So, and it doesn't mean you're going to have an invasive exam. So again, my daughter's probably going to kill me, but I took her when she was like 14 to meet the gynecologist, and she was terrified in the waiting room. She was cold sweat. I was like, "What is wrong with you?" And she's like, "She's gonna put that thing." And I was like, "What thing?" And she's like, "The thing that they do." I was like, "No, they're not gonna put anything anywhere. Okay, just breathe, and you're gonna be fine." So and she hasn't, and then she came in and she got a young gynecologist who was able to talk to her through it and also laugh with her. So it's important that you show your children that their health is their wealth, and it's important to keep these. So she makes her appointments for every year, and she makes sure she goes and has a conversation with her gynecologist. And I think that's a relationship that is important for a woman to have, from as early as possible, not just you meet one when you're pregnant.
Right.
Because you should have yearly pap smears once you're over a certain age.
Okay. This is where I think I'm not, well, people can take it as they want, but I think you as an older lady.
Did you just call me
No.
old?
I said older, and taking a younger lady. Let me finish. Whether you're the mother with the daughter, the aunt, but an older, trusted, respectful, responsible lady taking a younger daughter, perhaps teen or even preteen, I think it's important. We don't do that because maybe we're uncomfortable. But what about the boy? Because I'm thinking that if this vaccine is for male and female, and we're targeting ages 9, and I champion and support what you said, why not the boy too? Because the woman by herself isn't going to self-impregnate.
Herself it.
Yeah. So why don't we have that responsibility? So what about the boy? I mean, he may go with his dad, his uncle, his older brother. He may be as comfortable going with the mom. I'm not sure. But he's not having his cycle. So when do we take him, and what does he check out?
The yearly visit where we go through development. I usually, from the time they hit about 11, 12, I ask the parents to leave the room so I can get some truth.
Okay.
And I remind children that yes, their parents brought them, but I am your doctor. I'm not your mother's doctor. I'm not your father's doctor. I'm your doctor. So everything you say here stays between us, unless I think your life is in danger, and then we have to figure out a way because your life in danger. So we might have to involve the parents. So it's that relationship to be able to talk. Like I have boys that come now, they started at like 12 and they come now at 14 and they know my questions. So they sit down, they're like, well, this is what happened since last I saw you. I got this, I had a girlfriend. I was like, oh my gosh, no, I don't need to know all this. But they know the questions. We have the relationship. We can talk about it. So I think just having a physician that has developed a relationship from through puberty, which is why when I started at HSA, I was a big promoter to increase the age from 13 to 16 for clinic. Because I was like, now you're going through puberty and that whole confusion. And we're saying, okay, bye. Go see an adult doctor, even though you've been seeing me since you were born later. So it's important that you have a medical, and it doesn't have to be a pediatrician. It should be. And we have enough pediatricians on island, both private and public, that it should be. But it could be a GP, a trusted family GP was what I had growing up. And she actually did my pap smears, not a gynecologist, my first few ones. So it's about having a relationship with a physician from before you're sexually active, from before you're pregnant, from before you're sick.
before you're in that awkward stage that you haven't established.
But yearly,
communication
you
with.
come in for the year, and if there's nothing to add, there's nothing to add.
Yeah.
Then you are still have that option. And then you're reminding at that visit. I always tell them, I say, well, if you want to come back and talk to me, just tell your parents you need to come see me. We can say belly pain, we can say headache, whatever you want to say it is, but get in here and we can talk.
Yeah. Well, I won't, compliment you and your colleagues. I've had, I joke and say when I resign from here and do other things, I'll miss this part because I learn a lot. But I want to thank you publicly as I do privately for having that, ease with which we can approach you and for your valiant effort in increasing the age to 16. I, on a personal level, and this is an appeal from the public policy perspective, that we look at our young people and recognize that we have so many ages, this age to vote, this age to drink, this age to drive, this age to sexual consent. But if they are 19, they're still a teenager. And I don't know about many people, but even at 30, sometimes you're immature, right? But if that 16-year-old can have that continued discussion, that's somebody's child at 36 as well at 16. I say that to ask then, first, from your perspective, in the schools where conversations continue, I would imagine as much as that math or history teacher is giving an accurate lesson that is engaging and informative and inviting for conversation and instruction and learning and all that, what you share with our children, affect their lives. So how can we partner with you as we close out and make this thing work so that we do or don't do, or when we do or how we do, what we do?
At the schools, the conversations that happen are insightful and enlightening. It's a privilege to be in that position, to be able to be trusted by the children coming to talk to us. We communicate if there's ever anything that's needed for care. We communicate that through to the parents. But it is, it's a lot of trust there and conversations, which is great. But it's, with the actual classes that we give to the kids and the education piece and giving them accurate information is very important. And it needs to translate from home to school and school back to home and the community so that everybody is supporting that child, that individual child, to be able to stay as healthy as possible in every way.
Yes. Thank you. I mean, and I learn each time, we have these discussions, and I come with the intent of trying to contribute respectfully. Dr. Ebanks, your thoughts for today as we close up?
Well, I think the key is one, have a physician that you have a relationship with. Get vaccinated, get informed, educated about the vaccine, and you can have the schedule is at the HSA website. I think it's also on our Instagram page and our Facebook page, so social media sites that have the schedule. If it's not at school and if you want to have a one-on-one discussion with the nurse or more questions, then you can do that and have it done not in the school. And I would say if you have questions, ask the questions rather than just saying no. Come have a talk.
There's no dumb question.
Hey.
No bad question.
If you look
ask
up
it. Well,
there's
ask the question.
I would say something valuable. Yeah. If you don't ask it, then you think it was dumb. Ask it and be confirmed.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much,
yeah.
and for allowing me to leave better informed and better positioned, so that with courage and conviction I can try to at least be respectful and responsible. Your jobs cannot always be as easy, but you do it with such a valiant effort. So thanks very much. Thanks to Miss Susan. What a wonderful idea. And she didn't, anyway. Tomorrow's Wednesday, so join Mr. Hart for the record. Come tomorrow morning and then come back for Talk Today right after the midday news. In conjunction with our Youth Services Unit, we have the National Poetry Finals on air. That's going to be great. Looking forward to that. Thursday, we're going to be at the Credit Union, right, for a live broadcast on their premises. Friday, I'm going fishing. No, just kidding. I don't know what's going to happen Friday. We'll figure that out. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, each and everyone. And together, if through prayer, we'll find that we'll make much effort. But we have to be informed, engaged, and enlightened in order to be educated so that we can be instructed in order to ensure that others have that success that we want. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Shaken yet standing firm.